Funeral home marketing in 2026 is changing. Here's the core reality. Competitors can match your pricing, they can copy your service packages, they can outspend you on Google Ads, they can bid on the exact same keywords, and they can even get the exact same lead from lead aggregators like bark.com. But there is one thing that they cannot replicate, and that is the trust that your brand builds with the community before anyone passes away. In funeral services, trust is not just a branding concept. It is the business model. Most funeral homes think marketing is about getting more inquiries, getting more calls, ranking on Google, and running ads when someone dies. That's all late stage marketing. The real goal is when a family experiences a loss, your funeral home is already the obvious choice. And this all happens before someone passes away. This happens through trust memory. Chapter 1. What a strong funeral home brand actually does. Your brand is not your logo, it's not your website, and it's not the stock images you post on your Facebook. Your brand is what families do after they see you. When your brand is working, families do these 3 things. Number 1, they consume your content deeply. They don't just see one post and move on. They watch multiple videos. They follow along with your series, for example, like an Ask a Director series. They follow your Facebook page quietly for months or even years. They save your posts. Your funeral home shifts from just a typical funeral home to the funeral home that explains things and gives me value through social media. Number 2, families share you quietly. They don't share you publicly, but they share you privately. They send you videos to their siblings. They share your name in a family group chat. They say, I've been following this funeral home for a while. This is identity sharing, not social sharing. I like and trust this funeral home and they align with the expectations that I would like from a funeral director when I'm in need of one. Number 3, families simply choose with less friction. When the time comes, when they need a funeral director, they don't ring 3 different funeral homes. They don't haggle on price. They trust your recommendations. They don't view you as the cheap end of town. They view you as the premium option. And this takes you from selling and advertising to simply guiding. Chapter 2, why trust is the only advantage left. In 2026, AI content is everywhere. Ads are more expensive than ever and they're only going to continue to climb. Large funeral groups and corporate chains dominate SEO, directories, and Google Ads. Families are absolutely overwhelmed. Overwhelmed people don't research anything. They simply default to trust. They go with the funeral home who is most likely to give them the best experience possible. That's why faces behind your funeral brand consistently outperforms these corporate faceless chains. Again, familiar faces outperform logos. Known funeral directors outperform the cheapest option. If families don't know, like, and trust you before someone passes away and before they need your services, you pay more in advertising. You have to compete on price. You rely on last-minute decisions. You stay stuck in the weeds competing with people on lead aggregators like bark.com or being outbidded by larger corporate chains via Google Ads. Trust lowers your cost per lead. It lowers your cost per call. It reduces the emotional friction during arrangements. Chapter 3, the 3 pillars for funeral homes. Pillar number 1, create truly engaging and valuable content. Forget the stock images that say here when you need us in the caption. That's meaningless. Useful funeral home social media content does one thing really well. It reduces pain points. These are fear, regret, and confusion. And these are some of the biggest factors when it comes to selecting a funeral home. Here's some examples of some high trust, value-based social media content that ultimately builds trust with the viewers and gets them to follow you, gets them to engage with your brand, so then you continually warn them so they trust you more. Number 1, this is a very simple topic. Create a social media video about 5 things that families wish they knew before selecting a funeral home. Highlight common pain points that people experience when they select a wrong funeral home or the things they should look for in the right funeral home. This showcases your knowledge and expertise and therefore makes you a trusted source. Even content like burial versus cremation continues to educate the audience. Here's where you educate the audience and really straighten things out so people know exactly what you offer and exactly what's involved with each individual service. The goal here is to speak like a human. Be yourself. Don't be a brochure. Ultimately, this content positions you and your funeral home as the trusted authority when it comes to funeral services in your area. Pillar number 2, be everywhere without creating everything. When you're making high quality content, you also need to factor in distribution. Having the correct distribution system allows your funeral home to reach a wider audience on a more consistent basis and continue to warm more people. So instead of throwing out one net, for example, you're just posting on Facebook, you can throw out 4 nets. So you can post on YouTube Shorts, you can post on Facebook Reels, you can post on Instagram, and you can post on TikTok. And you pull that all together, you're getting far more engagement and you're reaching more people who you continue to warm so they know, like, and trust you. And therefore, when the time comes when they need a funeral home, they're going to be searching for you. You're more likely to catch fish if you throw out 4 lines as opposed to 1. Here is the exact funeral home social media content system that you can implement in your business today. What you want to do is post 1 long form video per week. This is going to be 5 to 15 minutes. This can be recorded on your phone or camera, and choose 1 clear topic that families want to know about. You can make this single long form piece of content into 5 to 10 short form pieces of content. So that's your TikToks, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and YouTube Shorts. You can make the long form piece of content into blog articles. You can make this piece of long form content into an email for your email list. And it can also be a pinned video on your Facebook page. The goal here is you create 1 piece of long form video and you can distribute it multiple times over. Here's how it works and why it's important. First, a family may see you on Facebook. Later, they'll search your name in Google. They'll eventually watch your longer form videos across Facebook or YouTube. And then they choose your funeral home when you are needed. The goal here isn't to be viral and to have a one-hit wonder video. When you are repeatedly exposing your brand to an individual, they begin to recognize your face, they recognize your voice, they recognize the colors of the brand, and they recognize that you should be trusted as you give value through your content. That repetition builds trust memory. Pillar number 3, balance short and long form content. Remember, short form content gets attention, it reaches new families, it keeps you visible, and your longer form content builds trust. It goes far deeper on more complex topics. It warms leads and reduces fear and other pain points. Funeral homes fail at social media marketing when they only post short quotes, images, or just funeral notices. They never really explain anything in depth on camera. Families don't need more inspiration. All they need is trust, reassurance, and clarity. Chapter 4, the compounding effect that funeral homes miss. I'm not here to tell you that social media marketing is going to work in 1 week. It's not going to work in 30 days. For the first 6 to 12 months, you'll feel like nothing is happening. Your views may be modest. The engagement may be quiet. But trust me, families are watching you silently. Then you start hearing, I've been watching you for a while. I've seen your social media content. Here's where price resistance drops. Your calls feel more qualified and warmer. Your arrangements feel smoother. This is simply your trust compounding. If you stop early, you won't get the compounding effect and you will never ever see the benefits. Chapter 5, the funeral home advantage. Here's the good news for funeral homes. Funeral homes have an advantage that most businesses don't. You deal with one of life's most emotional moments. Trust matters more than price. Families value calm authority. You don't need virality. You don't need to chase trends. All you need is consistency, clarity, compassion, and visibility over time. Here is the simple rule. Be the funeral home that families trust before they need one. If you do that, leads will come easier. You will get more calls. Your ads will work better and be cheaper. Price becomes less of the decision. You win against bigger funeral groups without outspending them. You become viewed as the premium funeral brand and the trusted authority in the area, and that builds a moat around your company. If you want more funeral home marketing and branding content, subscribe to Funeral Growth Partners.